corral our minds, focus our attention, that we would hear and heed what the candidates and what they would say to us today. Give us open hearts to receive an intellectual understanding of what's being communicated. But we know that what you do well. Nothing happens by accidents, but sometimes you permit things. So God, you know who the mayor will be before the mayor even knew it themselves. So God, we're praying for your perfect will. Now Lord, as we prepare to eat and to fellowship and to dialogue, would you be pleased with what we would do? We ask it in the name that really matters. Amen. Amen.
We are gathered here today for the purpose. We do want to celebrate and appreciate once again the community bishop of this great community, and of course the senior statesman of our community, the one that brings us all together. We're here because of him. Please celebrate him as he's here with us, the Bishop Bill Herbert McDonald Jr. We appreciate him. Amen. His love and his concern for his community. And we appreciate him always being steadfast, unmovable, and always taking care of the business of the community. And we do thank him for this setting. Of course, it's not the shepherd's breakfast, but I promise you, you're going to get the food just is going to be just as wonderful, because the same hands that prepares the shepherd's breakfast is the same hands that are preparing this brunch for today, and that's not other than elect Lady Alma Faye McDonald. So we are looking forward to the brunch. The purpose for us coming together is because 2024, we're coming around to that election cycle once again. For the mayor of the city of Las Vegas. And of course, we want to hear from these mayoral candidates. We are appreciative for them coming and being a part, participating. We do want to hear from them. In all of these great cities, even the city of Los Angeles, we want to be that metroplex city, but we want to be able to bring greater things to our community. Somebody say our community. Yeah, we want to bring greater things to this 106 community. And as I often say, the black community is not centrally located in one proximity as it was back in the 50s and in the 60s. The concentration of black people and their businesses was in this 106 location. But now, the black community, we're not in one area. We are all over the city. We make up a tremendous landscape and a panorama of the Las Vegas area. And so, of course, we need a mayor. We need a mayor that is going to have the heart and feel the heart of African Americans. And many times, we are always inclusive of. And I think that we need to stop being inclusive with other races and other ethnicities. We need to be identified as a community that's a thriving community. We want to have businesses that are thriving. We want to be bigger than just the mom and pop businesses. We need finances and economical strength in our community. We want proper education for our children, advanced education that has technology that is pushing our young people so that they can be considerable people and strong persons for our community. And these are the issues that are on the table. And I know that many of you have questions that you want to ask these candidates, but I pray and hope that you would adhere to them, listen to them. Let's hear what they have to say. We're going to expedite as much time so that you can be a part of the conclusion of the whole matter. As a disclaimer, I'm going to come around to the table as some of these are starting to go forward, or actually before they go forward, we're going to come around and we're going to, I guess, pick two from each table that will ask a question. Now, the disclaimer is that if you have a question, we'll put you on the list, put your name down, and all you are allowed to do is just ask the question. So we don't want to have, back and forth, back and forth. You can address your question to any of these mayoral candidates and then allow them to give their response. Amen? Amen? All right, so that we don't have the back and forth and the volleying and the debating. That's not the purpose why we're here, but we do want to have the opportunity to ask our questions so that we can get some thorough answers and some understanding of what the mind and the heart and the vision is of these candidates that are potential candidates to run the great city of Las Vegas, Nevada. At this time, obligation to civic engagement, I'm going to ask our own Judge Karen Bennett if she would come at this time. Please receive her with a
retired judge up here talking to a bunch of preachers about being engaged in civic activity. And I think I'm going to give you a little context. Is that all right, Mr. Collins? I am the proud daughter of who I believe to be one of the finest preachers inside of the He has gone on to glory, but he is with me every day. His name is Reverend Marion Bennett, and he was indeed a community preacher. I was raised and born into the tribe of Zion, I like to say. So, as a consequence of that, I was enmeshed in the concept of Black liberation theology, which says that we have to take care of our own life. That we have an obligation to be excellent, not because we want validation from outside communities, but because we want to be excellent to each other and for each other. That is the African way of being, because we have had the institution known as the Black Church has survived the transatlantic slave trade. It was before we were enslaved, and it has existed after and will exist long after that. And so we have an obligation to uphold that institution, and we do that in large part by our civic engagement, because church is not just about Sunday morning. It's about Monday through Sunday. It's morning, noon, and afternoon. The first time I heard about a preacher having office hours, I was stunned because my dad never had it. It was anytime, any day, whatever you need, we're going to be there. Because he understood, and I know most of you, if not all of you, understand that the role of a pastor is not the same as the role of a preacher. The role of a pastor is to serve. Amen. And that's what we are all called to do, because, to love justice, to do justice, love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God, meaning you do whatever it is he tells you to do. So that's why I'm here. Isn't that right, Bishop? Amen. So we wanted to talk about civic engagement, and one of the things that I have run into time and time again when talking with some of you is, well, I don't want to be too political. I don't want to, let's get this straight. The IRS says you cannot endorse political candidates. You cannot engage in political activity. But it does not bar you from educating your congregation on the necessity of being engaged in the community. All politics are local, and church should be local. You don't need a national movement to tell you how to clothe and feed and provide nourishment. And when I talk about food, even though I know Pastor is good at giving us great actual food, I'm talking about knowledge. Yes. I'm talking about skill. I'm talking about teaching a person how to fish instead of giving them fish. That's right. Because we have got to stop this handout, I want a handout mentality. Yes. They may owe you, but I don't know if you ain't tired by now, it ain't coming. Come on. The check, You know, even as Dr. King said, you know, we've gotten a check mark insufficient funds. And we ain't been able to collect yet. So at some point, we have to figure out a way to do it for ourselves. And that's where I think the civic engagement of the church, the only Black-run institution in the world that has survived more than 400 years, is still standing. Everything else may have gone by the wayside, but our church is still there. And it is the incubator, it is the hub for developing businesses, for developing education strategies, for everything that it is the hub of our culture. So how can we not engage in civic activity? How many of you, just by a show of hands, have congregation members or congregants that are on Social Security? How many of you have congregants that have children in the school district? How many of you have congregants who have, at some point in time, have had someone who has been incarcerated, whether it be their immediate family or themselves? How many of you have congregants that have to access medical care in Clark County? Those are all issues that surround and that permeate civic engagement. You need to be mindful, and you need to make your congregation mindful that they have a responsibility to be engaged in those issues.
Yes.
You can't just come to somebody and expect them to fix it. You know, there was a time back when Las Vegas was that little old town that they say we are no longer, when you might be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, listen, so-and-so needs a job at the bedside. Or so-and-so's son is locked up down at the county jail, I need him released. But those days are no longer, because with big cities comes big structure. And that requires the pastors especially to understand that that is exactly what you have to relay to your congregants.
Yes.
And the essence is that they need to be responsible enough to show up and to let people know that they are engaged. Right now, a lot of times in our community, whether you want to talk about it in terms of the west side of Las Vegas, or the larger African American community in Las Vegas, but for some strange reason, people don't feel that there's any accountability when things go wrong with us. So when Anthony Williams was killed, nobody said anything. You know, but not in my backyard. Didn't happen in my backyard. He was probably something's wrong with him anyway, right? But nobody said anything. When these kids at the school district are getting jumped on by the school police, people are saying things, but it's not the pastors. Right? We don't want to get involved because it's too political, even though we have congregations filled with people who have kids or grandkids or nieces, nephews at the school districts. We're not showing up at the school board. So what has happened is there's been another piece, another fraction of our community that has now decided the churches aren't serving us anymore. We're not getting what we need from those preachers. They just want to talk about, you know, their collection plates or whatever it is they say. Now you have all of these young, active, strong-minded, strong-willed folks who have created these organizations to advocate on the issues that I quite frankly think the preachers need to be at the forefront of. I was always raised that the church is the headlights of our community. The preacher is the leader. He's the shepherd or sheep. But that's not happening right now. We are not in the forefront. We're not even in the back. Some of us may be on the sidelines, but we're critiquing them. We're not participating. So I'm just going to leave you with this because I could go on and on with this, but I think one of the things that I would urge each of you to do is to take a portion of your Sunday morning to talk about civic engagement. You know, I even heard Jerry Falwell, I never thought I'd quote him, but he said, our obligation is to get people saved, get them baptized, and register to vote. That's what he said. And now you have an evangelical movement that has taken over this country, gave you Donald Trump and God knows what else. All right, did all of that. But I'm gonna say that your obligation may be to get us saved, get us baptized, registered to vote, and to understand the importance of voting.
Yes.
And to be mindful and to be learned on the issues that are impacting us. It's not enough for us to like somebody.
All right.
Every time I come to one of these things, I hear these politicians, and I love both of y'all, so it's not y'all, but tell you how much they love you. Well, you know what? Love is an action word.
Yes,
So you can't love me and then be voting for policies that discount my community. But y'all don't know whether they're discounting the community because you don't know what they're doing because you're not participating in the process.
Right.
You're not going to the meetings, you're not holding it, you're not reading the articles, you're not talking about it, it's all about who I like. It has nothing to do with that. You can like whoever you want. But if you are here to serve this community,
Come on.
this community is in need of a whole lot because we have been discounted for a very long time, both by external and internal factors.
All right.
We have to first acknowledge our problem and then come up with the solutions. And the first one that I'm going to charge each one of you to do, and I'm hoping that you will do it, is to educate your congregation. If your congregation is comprised of single mothers, then let's talk about the issues that impact single mothers and the way in which civic engagement can resolve some of those issues. I have a friend who told me that she stumbled upon a health district meeting where they were talking about handing out sterilization products to women in the projects. We need to have a representative, a community representative at all these board meetings, these council meetings, commission meetings, all where decisions are made. Zoning decisions, environmental justice, we have so many things to catch up on. And we've got to come up with a strategy. The only way that happens, and then I'm gonna sit down for real. The only way that happens is if you all being the pastors in this room, come together in an active coalition where you all give each other assignments and you hold each other accountable for follow-through. It's gotta happen. You're gonna have to pool your resources. Nobody, I know everybody likes to be in front of the mic, everybody wants to be on stage, but the reality is the prophetic work of the church has to be done in the collective.
Yes.
And when I say prophetic, I don't mean telling you what's going to happen. I mean forth-telling. I mean owning your position as a leader in the community to say this is what we need. And to have the integrity not to be influenced or distracted by some little thing like, I like him or I like her. You have to hold fast because that's your charge. That is your charge. That is your responsibility. And that's what you've been called to do. And I hope and pray that you will do it. But you are going to have to come up with a coalition. You're going to need to be able to pool your resources. And you're going to have representatives from your congregation participate in the various avenues by which change is made. It's a long process. It took us a while to get to this point. It's going to take us a little while to make up for it, but we can do it. I just hope that you have the energy, not just to come and eat, but to come and work, because that's what it's going to take from all of us. Okay? Thank you very much.
Amen. Look at somebody and say your vote. Somebody say your vote counts. Look at somebody else and say your vote counts. Amen. So you're here to be educated on the facts and become familiar with these mayoral candidates. Impact of pastors means civically involved and engaged. I'm going to ask the first Black African American female president of the SEIU to come at this time, receive her, none other than President Michelle Maese.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much, Ms. Karen. Thank you. Be somebody's campaign manager. We're going to be Karen for Congress. Okay. Thank you so much, and good morning. I'd like to thank God for letting us be here today. especially in the climate that's happening right now. And thank you, Bishop, and First Lady Faye for always opening God's house to for community, and to educate each other and celebrate and have connection. But I especially want to thank the staff. Every time you come here, somebody is at that door to greet and smile. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know how many times I've walked through that door, and we have not having such a great day, and it was better when I came through. And the setup crew and the greeters, the photographer back there, thank you, because you are part of what keeps these doors open in Las Vegas. And a special thank you to everybody in this room who built Las Vegas when they weren't even allowed to walk through the front doors. I want to thank you for that, because I'm the reason, you are the reason that I'm here today as the first Black president of SCIU Local 1107. And I promise you that I understand, thank you so much. I understand that your sacrifice made this possible for me, and I absolutely thank you. My name is Michelle, and I'm the president of SCIU Service Employees International Union. People always ask what that stands for. And we represent 2 million members worldwide in the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico, over 100 occupations and 150 locals around the country. SCIU is the only anti-racist union in the world. Most of our members are women and people of color. You might have heard about some of our campaigns, the Fight for 15 for fast food workers. Anybody heard that?
Yes.
Yes. The fight for child care for single mothers. That was our fight also. The fight for I America, for immigration, and then health care for all. We led that campaign. Here in Nevada, we represent 20,000 workers, and they keep the doors open. And please make no mistake about it, there would be no Las Vegas without labor.
All right.
Period. We represent workers at Harrogate Airport, North Las Vegas Airport, the RTC, Water Reclamation, and all 39 departments of Clark County. We also represent 9,000 nurses in 11 hospitals. So we're pretty big. 20,000 workers equals about 100,000 families. And we really fight for our families because we know that an injury to one of them is an injury to all of us. And we care about that. In addition to our 20,000 members, we recently are organizing 13,000 home care workers. Home care workers take care of our families when they want to come here. Las Vegas is the #1 growing population in the country. And a lot of people want to come here, they want to retire with dignity and respect. And we want our workers to be respected, protected, and paid when they're taking care of you. And that's our fight right now. Some of you may be familiar with our other labor partners, the AFL-CIO, the carpenters, the Teamsters, culinary. We work very closely with them. We also partner with the NAACP, the Wealthy Place Ministries, Nevada Now, Emerge, National Action Network, and the ACLU. I say those things because we run a very rigorous endorsement process. And I'm happy to say that we have an 82% win rate in 2022 for our seats that we endorse, and that's a really big deal. Our members, we encourage them to run for office. We encourage them to run so that they can fight for working families. And coincidentally enough, we have one of our members in the audience right now who's an assemblywoman. Can you please stand up, Ms. Clara Thomas? Assemblywoman Thomas is one of our SCIU members, and she has been on the fight with us for a long time, as well as Assemblywoman Chandra Summers Armstrong, who's not here, and Commissioner McCurdy is also a member of SCIU. My daughters would say, Mom, your name dropping. Stop doing that. But I have to do that because we can't do this fight alone. It's going to take all of us together. So now that you know a little bit about SCIU, let me tell you why I'm here. Just like the judge said, we have an obligation for civic engagement. Far too long, politics and religion have been seen as two separate spheres of influence. And that's a problem. Our society continues to grapple with complex issues like unaffordable housing. They call it affordable housing, I don't know why. But it really is unaffordable housing, okay? Inequality, school shootings, and racially motivated lynchings every single day. I am so tired of turning on the TV and seeing who the next hashtag is. So it becomes increasingly clear that politics and religion are absolutely intertwined. As religious leaders, pastors have a unique platform to influence the political discussion in our communities. Pastors have the ability to bring people together like no one else can. I cannot call 50 people on a Sunday to come to my house. I can't. I don't know if you can 50 people to do that. But you do. That's your superpower. When pastors engage civically, they make impact in several ways. First, pastors educate their congregation, like the judge said, on important issues that affect your communities, and their sermons can highlight and teach the importance of voting, encouraging civil participation, and racial, social, and economic justice. And let's be very clear, you're not going to get economic justice or social justice unless there's racial justice. We need to start talking about that a lot more. Pastors have the ability to create and inform citizens be better engaged about the political process and the how-tos, and creating a space just like the bishop does every month. Pastors can talk about policies that align with their values, while working with other faith organizations, just like today, to advance them and to be important. They can work with people like Assemblywoman Thomas to bridge the gap between different communities and foster greater understanding and cooperation through the congregation. Pastors break down barriers to promote love and unity like nobody else can. That is also their superpower. That can will lead to more social cohesion. I know that pastors understand the vital role that they play with promoting.
And I want to talk a little bit about why I want to be the next mayor for the city of Las Vegas. But it goes beyond a platform because I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. And it starts first with the fact that I'm a Christian woman and I love Jesus and I'm very rooted in service. It's how I was raised. My father is a deacon, my mom, deacon's wife. And it's just a part of my heart. It's not about a title. It's about who I am. And so in introducing myself to you all about who I am, I want to talk to you about what I've done. So that can be indicative of the type of person that you have as an option to help lead the city into the future. I've lived in Las Vegas for 13 years now. I was recruited out of Sacramento, California. I worked in legal affairs. My education is in law. I have a law degree. And I came out of law school, Loyola Law School in New Orleans, where my family is from, in public interest law. So when Bishop talked about helping or knowing anyone in the juvenile justice system, that's exactly what I did in clinic. I loved it. It's what I did. It was about making sure that the youth in New Orleans were seen and having an opportunity to have what we call due process. I'll get more into that because I'm the administrator for the Equal Rights Commission. Some of you know who Bob Bailey is. I'm the